Welcome back to the Festival of Storytellers, Chapter 3. We're finally nearing the end of today's event. I hope you guys are having fun or have been having fun. Again, we're still streaming live on our Readers Magnet YouTube channel and Twitter account, and of course, the Festival of Storytellers Facebook account. Yes. So, right now, we're back continuing with our talk with Joanne White with her book, More Heaven, because every child is special. As you saw, the pre-recorded author of the art of Joanne, as you as we can see and know more about her and her books, um, so the book, basically, well, to maybe give our viewers a bit of a background about her book. So it highlights a pilot program. I guess it's something that Joanne created for children with autism, since they basically have a special place in her heart. So the book highlights a pilot program and special for children with special needs who previously were denied the right to public education. So that's one big factor to why Joanne wrote this book. It's to more like inspire everyone to accept the ones that has special things that going on with them, because they're not a problem. They're not someone that you should be ashamed of. They are someone that's also the same person as you are, but a little bit more special. So it basically what Joanne is trying to say or convey uh, through her book is that these children also deserve equal rights as these so and so called regular children. So these most of these children have been denied the privilege to education. It's not the right to education. The regular type of education, they're mostly given like these special treatment, which basically sorts of like divides them from the community. I guess it's rather than making them feel welcomed, it highlights their difference in a sort of negative way as they are drawn away from the regular kids that they should be hanging out with. Yes, as with having giving them special care and giving them special treatment is good, but putting them in one like not giving them the time or the ability to interact with other regular kids and putting them in the same place with the people that the same with them would only keep them from learning more about how to deal with like the real world, the society and everything. It's not a bad thing to educate them privately, but also it will be better to educate them with the help of letting them experience the things that regular children, regular person would actually experience so that they won't have any problem in the future. Because with this kids development with the kids development as having autism, it depends on that kid because they have their own world, they have this imaginary friend, they have this kind of thing going on with them. So speaking of imaginary friends, actually, do you have when you were a kid? Can you remember something that you have imaginary friend? Hopefully not a ghost around. Looking back, I think it's this imaginary friend concept. It is quite common between children, right? But growing up, I don't think I had one, or I don't think I made up one. Actually, since it's quite common, I actually tried to maybe force myself into believing that I had one, but it just really doesn't work for me. Like, imagine, maybe it's also because I had like real friends around me. Well, probably most kids who don't have these like easy access to other kids their age, that's probably what like draws them to imagining a friend, right? How about you? Yeah, I guess that's quite right. But a lot of kids who back in the day, even me, have been playing. Like while you're playing alone, you're just like building up from something and talking to yourself, like cooking, like playing like a cook and serving it in front of you. Seems like it's something
There's
like that.
someone there.
Yeah, something
Mhm.
like that. But having an imaginary friend sometimes refers, like autism, sometimes they have this imagination, like a fantasy world that they have. Like they have a friend that who will listen always to them, who do this. A lot of things that they imagine that person do, but doesn't really exist. So I don't really have that kind of experience also having an imagination friend, but hopefully I won't have one, or also hopefully it's not a ghost, because sometimes ghosts can also be your imagination. But yeah.
I mean, in line with that, I guess, as you've mentioned, I mean, it's common for children to have imaginary friends, and maybe
Mhm.
even for adults, it can help, yeah, them cope through like sadness. And given this fact that how common it is and how it's like one of this sort of like telling characteristic
Mhm.
to
I
autism,
mean, it
it's
actually helps the development because sometimes having an imaginary friends with those kind of kids with special needs, sometimes it helps them boost a little bit more confidence that um, their imaginary friend are telling them to do this and a lot of things. Because sometimes um, it helps them not feel alone, like because they're separated from the regular, like for the regular kids and stuff. It won't make them feel alone because they think they do have someone that's always there for them. That's why we should actually really appreciate everything that we have. That uh, we're normal, we're like good. We don't need to be separated. We don't have this kind of things. I mean, because we're actually really lucky. But for those who weren't that much lucky enough with us, is still going through all this hardship, but still pushing through and moving forward all the time. So hopefully everyone will be kind to them and don't start like um, having bad thoughts or negative things that they can say to you.
but I mean, given that we're in this line of conversation, I think this also proves to show that children who are autistic isn't really that far off or isn't really that different from regular kids. I mean, they still have similarities, and it's
A lot
really
of similarities.
and it's really one way to prove that they don't need that much separation when it comes to treatment. I mean, while they still need maybe the right assistance, it isn't really necessary for them to be treated as if they're a lot younger than how they actually are. Since this
Yeah.
can also like negatively affect, as you can see, as
Yeah,
you've
it can
mentioned as well.
actually like negatively affect the kid, as you can like tell off like they're different, they're separated from everyone, and also it should not be like that, as it will build the confidence with the kid. I mean, it can't be helped because sometimes parents or like parents are scared, special parents that has the special kids are quite scared to let them out on the regular and the real world, as they only have their own little fantasy world and they're already accepting all this thing as their own real world. And if you add another world from that world for them, it's gonna be quite hard. And also for the parents, they don't want their kids to experience bad things. So that's why I can understand why they want to isolate their kids. Study from school, study from home, something like that.
Actually, Joanne also mentioned something a little bit to that concept in the earlier pre-recorded session.
Mhm.
But in a light that says there are maybe parents who are forced to isolate their children from a bigger crowd because parents with regular kids are afraid that these special children would hurt these regular
Yes.
children. And I think it's one of those common misconceptions about
Yes.
children with autism, that they're extremely aggressive, that they're very violent, and probably that's also one of the factors that Joanne is addressing in the book. These like breaking down the stigmas around
Yeah.
autism and like correcting what are these misconceptions that are thrown to them by society.
Yes. Don't try to assume something that you don't really know about, because kids with special needs or a person with special needs are not entirely the same as like one another. I mean, they might have something the same of like they have the same special things going on, but they're like have their own like personalities, have their own attitudes and everything. So every kid needs to have acceptance
Mhm.
and patience to from everyone, like for them to cope up with everything that is going on around them and understand the things that they don't actually understand a lot. So only thing needs to be like the acceptance of everyone and like not underestimating their abilities, because sometimes people with autism actually are the ones that are really let's say like intelligent.
Like
Sometimes
actually,
they're just good
autism,
at one thing.
yes, autism. I think another misconception about autism is that these are children with lacking, but
Yeah.
actually, it's autism is a spectrum, right? Like there is an extremes on both ends. Like there can be children with autism who are very maybe like behind when it comes to like their cognitive development. They can be as you mentioned, like they can be slow when it comes to learning, but at the same time, there are children with autism who are on the higher end of the spectrum. These are those intelligent children, and I think it's only a very inconsiderate or very insensitive for people to assume that when it comes to autism, it's immediately the lower end of the spectrum. This
Yes.
is why there seems to be a need for society to isolate them and maybe give them special treatments when in fact they can
Like evolve and change throughout.
mhm, and like they can support themselves on their own only if they're given the chance to like learn how to actually do it and not like make themselves believe that they can't.
Yeah. And also, if they're given a chance to just do it, and people, and also if they're given a chance uh, to let people understand them that they're not lacking anything. I mean, no one lacks anything because no one is perfect actually. So everyone has some things going on with them, but you shouldn't just judge around and like do those kind of things and have negative feedbacks from them, because sometimes with this kind of special um, disabilities, actually they have their really special abilities for them, because some people with autism actually like they might be having problem with social, they don't know how to act with other people like socially, but when it comes to like maybe art, they're a really good painter, maybe they're a really good musician, but they're just scared to talk to you. Like they have this social thing going on. That's also part of having these special needs as autism. And
I think
maybe
it's
they just
not also quite far from what regular people experience. I mean, there
yeah.
are also regular people, so quote unquote regular people who experience are these like very extreme anxiousness when it comes to social interactions,
Yeah.
similar to what these children with autism experience. But and while they can be socially anxious, they're also still very talented when it comes to the arts, when it comes to maybe like
different
maths,
things
yes.
that they can excel. So, because sometimes geniuses are born with autism. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the movie Doctor or something. That there's one series that I saw on the internet. It's like a story about a person who has autism, but he became a doctor, one of the best
Yes.
doctors on that series, and he was having autism on his side is a good thing, as he cannot really talk properly, but he can think like um, really like think out of the box, like fast thinking, like ultra fast thinking or something. Like he
I
can
think I
solve
saw
things
that
so fast.
movie or series rather. I think I saw
Yes.
that, and I think as you mentioned, he doesn't really do well when it comes to social interaction. But when he's like taught or when he's like recognized what his mistakes were when it comes to these interactions, he can actually learn from them. And I guess it still again highlights the fact that these children can still um, learn,
Yes.
can still develop normally when it even they're if they're just given the chance to.
Yes. I mean, like those kids just need to push her like a little bit of a helping hand that so that they can go on and move forward in everyday. Like one push or maybe one help from them is all it takes. I mean, like everyone just need a little help, and because it's not like they lock something, they have complete arms, complete things, but they just need people to understand them, to have patience, to be kind to them, not really treat them too special, but at least treat them as a normal person and treat them a little bit more of consideration rather than thinking about it as a bad thing.
And I think this is really one of Joanne's advocacies is to like help spread awareness when it comes to people's acceptance with children or even adults who have autism and like make them feel welcomed rather than isolated and like judged by society, right?
Yeah, because right now what's going on, because if with people having like this, like with maybe like other disabilities or autism or any other disability, sometimes if they get to judge too much, and especially with the social media and internet going on right now, there's like memes and stuff making fun of them and sort of, and sometimes it became like a fuel for them to like have the suicide thoughts, depressions, and a lot of things. So it's also one thing that we should really avoid of, like, because as I have mentioned earlier, one word can make a person's day, and one word maybe can make a person's day bad also. Like, there's just two things that can go on, a good one or a bad one, depending on what you do, what you say, and like what you really feel about that person. So understanding and patience is the only thing.
Throughout the 1 hour session with Joanne,
Yes.
also one of the focal points that she discussed is about children's development, since we're in line with discussing about children with autism. And she mentioned that it's extremely important for parents to be patient with these children and be again understanding and not underestimating their abilities. I mean,
Yes.
even with regular children, with regular children, parents can be rather protective, right?
Yes.
Like these days, I don't think that a lot of parents would encourage children to play around, extremely like go out. Instead, they would rather keep them inside and like play with their gadgets and like
Yes.
just watch videos, watch movies. And I think that this is also a a big, huge, a huge chunk of like taking away a perfect opportunity for these children to
Yeah.
develop. Like being too protective is also bad.
Yeah, it's also a bit quite sad for those kids. I mean, you're taking away their childhood while not letting them try to do things like it's okay to get a little to get hurt. I mean, when I was a kid, I after school I go around. I have a lot of wounds. I have a lot of like I go home. My hand is bleeding because I got hurt by glass. But it's also an experience. It's also one thing like it's an experience and will give you like development as you go through with your other kids, talk to them, play with them, build like a relationship. It's where you start having what do you call this confidence as you talk and also how you socialize because kids that do, like always just stay at and not all but like the kids that have like really protective parents that won't let them go outside because you might get hurt, you might do this and you might do that. They will develop those things so late that they don't even know how to talk to other people, how they don't know how to talk to other children. What if they're gonna go to school? What will happen? Like I mean, if that kid doesn't even know how to interact with other kids, how can he make friends? He will be the one who's in the corner right there sitting eating alone. I mean, would you like that for your kid? I mean, no one likes. If you're a parent, no parent would like their kid to be alone all the time. So rather than letting them stay at home most of the time, just let them out, let them do what they want. That's how development works. You shouldn't stop kids trying to do a lot like I mean let them build their curiosity like let them discover things that they don't know about. It's like an adventure for them, but at least you're there guiding them that this is not right, this is good, this is bad. Like try to be like open with them but also guide them to where they should be going rather than stopping them from even growing. Like you should just water the plant and let and watch the plant grow. But how like if there's like weeds growing out like on that plant, you should just remove the weeds. And if because it will just start to grow, it will go big, it will do develop, and you will see the fruits of your labor. Because I mean, kids just develop naturally, but if you stop them from developing those kind of things, then it's also the adults thing. As I said earlier, at first, like it starts with the adults, it starts with the parents before the kids, because the kids learn what like they copy what they see. Actually, some kids have those kind of things. Like if their parents um, doing good. Like they see their parents that are friends with a lot of people, always kind to someone, always understanding that that kid would also adopt it because that's what he or she sees every day with their parents. But if the kids see their parents always fighting, always talking about bad things about their neighbors, their friends. The kid would actually copy also that. That will be what those kids reflect to. Like it's just a reflection
Really
on
just
what
about
they.
modeling, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Like
about
parents
modeling.
modeling these behaviors
Yeah,
to their children, and in line with Joanne's book, if regular children see their parents like isolating, sort of isolating and feeding fear into these children's mind about children with autism, then
yes,
these children will grow up thinking that children with autism are really violent or really aggressive, and
yes.
they themselves will start to separate, will start to be divisive about regular people and people with autism, which feeds into this, which feeds and like expands these negative misconceptions about people with autism.
Yes, that's actually quite true. And even though like that, like anyone who likes to actually be inspired and know more about dealing with this special like kids, and also knowing how to be patient, not just with these kids, but also like for everyone to be inspired of. You can just grab a copy on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and also our website www.readersmagnet.com. And also after this session, we will have another VR for Rosalind Dawkins, and we will be talking about her two books, I think.
I'm guessing. We'll see which books she will be discussing with us. Actually, it will be just, again, it's an hour long discussion, so there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to which she will discuss. But I'm pretty sure our audience, our viewers will learn more from her. So stay tuned, and again, don't hesitate to leave comments, to leave questions, to leave opinions about the interview.
Yes, because we'll be hopefully you will enjoy like learning about more about Rhoda Dawkins. One of her book is called
On Call.
On Call, and the other On Call I think is about firefighters. Actually, I have read a little bit about it. One of her book is called On Call, and the book is about firefighters, how they save your lives, as firefighters are the first ones to be when your house is on fire. Hopefully, there's a hot firefighter coming in to save me sometime.
So,
And
just stay tuned after
yes.
this segment. You
And
can
then-
just check out the live.
Yes, the live session also with her second book. It's about the dogs and stuff.
So please enjoy and don't hesitate to leave comments.
Hopefully.